Hello, everyone. Welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster, a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me, as always, is
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
Yo, yo, yo! What up, Khalid?
Yo, yo, yo! What are you sitting in a chair backwards right now? What's going on?
New year, new me.
Very new you. You really sprung this one on me, live on air.
Yeah. Backwards cap now too.
Oh God! All right. Well, I'm okay. I'm good. How are you?
I was trying to think of a cool way to say good, but I lost it.
I literally say I'm groovy every week.
Like... No, but that's your thing. I can't. I got to take my own thing. I got to be like I'm gravy, baby. I don't know.
I also say gravy, baby.
Yeah, you do, don't you? I knew that right when I said it.
I'm sorry. I took all the cool ways to say I'm good.
You really did. You really did. God damn.
I'm spoiled and I don't even use it every week. Like, what's wrong with me?
You got a lot of options that you can pull from there.
Joe, you just need to sit in chairs backwards long enough and then it'll come to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Tubular, dude.
All right. Well, you're trying. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, listeners, sorry we had a few weeks off. It was kind of a unannounced couple weeks off. I feel like we did our last couple episodes of December and time just kind of got away from us. I think I mentioned that myself and my household got sick a bunch, the holidays, New Year's just got crazy. So we episodes kind of got ahead of us and we're glad to be back, but sorry for the little absence there.
Yeah, so sorry.
Yeah, we had a really special holiday in December, right, Khalid?
We do?
Yeah, Khalid's birthday.
Oh, yeah. I was like, Christmas? Is that like a surprise?
Christmas.
Yeah. It was my birthday and it was a good one. It was very fun. You guys called and talked to me and texted me and a lot of friends reached out. So it was a good one. I'm 33 and loving it.
Yeah. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's good so far. Mm-hmm. I've been doing cool stuff. I went to a gun range yesterday. That was my second time ever shooting, and it's really fun.
It's characteristic.
Is that pretty on brand for me?
Yeah, I think so.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm not like a gun person. I don't own one or anything. It's just like, if you're looking for like a fun thing to do on a Sunday to wake you up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've done it before. It's fun. There's something. I'm not a big gun dude myself, but I get it.
Yeah, the thing goes pow pow, and then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I need to explain it beyond that.
Power.
That was great. That was a great segue.
Yeah. Kind of a non-backtrack, but speaking of birthdays, Khalid, do you know whose birthday it is today on the day? So everyone, we're recording on Monday the 16th. This is probably going to come out later, but we're recording on Monday, January 16th. Do you know whose birthday is today?
Whose?
The John Carpenter.
Oh, cool. I swear to God, for 2 seconds, I was going to be like Martin Luther King, but I was like, it's not his birthday.
Yeah, it is MLK Jr. Day. That's true. Yes.
But that's not his birthday, right?
It is not his birthday.
Okay.
Cool. It's always a Monday for Martin Luther King Day. It's always a Monday. His birthday couldn't always just be Monday.
Look, if anybody could have a moving birthday, it's him. All right, Joe.
It's around Martin Luther King's birthday is around this time. I think it's actually January 15th, if I remember correctly.
So it is associated with his birthday.
It is associated with it, but it's the holiday is always the Monday.
I feel like I should know that.
Yeah. Birthday is the 5th. Oh, no, it is the 16th. You're right.
I guess. I wasn't like confidently saying it or anything.
Oh, damn it. I thought it was the 15th. I thought it was 15th. So John Carpenter and Martin Luther King Jr. share a birthday.
Wow. That is, I mean, that's quite the club.
Right? It really is. It really is. Yeah. Damn. Good for them.
Yeah. Yes. Good for them. Capricorn Kings.
Yeah. Anyway, Khalid, I feel like it's a good time to bring in our guest now here. Joining us today is a regular friend of the pod, pretty regular guest, local Twin Cities artist who designed our awesome cover art and lots of other great stuff, lots of artwork and comic book stuff I know he has in the works. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but welcome back to the podcast, Jimmy Tandberg.
Thank you.
Welcome.
How's it going?
was trying to write down those things I mentioned earlier, and I got 3/4 of them down. All right, we'll do it live.
You good?
Yeah.
Were any of them like well wishes to Dr. King or John Carpenter for their birthday? Because we got
we,
that
we
covered.
got you covered on that one.
Thank God. That is what I forgot to put in.
Okay,
Which is how I
so you're
start
good.
every
So you're good
podcast,
then.
as you well know. Because
Just to
you had me back, and I'm tickled. It's been a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, yes. Now Jim's back, and I'm really excited to say this, but Jim really pushed us to watch what we're going to be talking about today, and I'm truly glad that he did because it was a blast. And I might say, Khalid, that what we're watching is an anime that you could say is on the cutting edge.
You could say that. You definitely physically could say that.
And should.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Jim.
that's right. That's what I'm going to bring to the table. I back up Joe's segues.
Yeah.
Oh God! All right, it's gonna be one of those.
Look at this new energy.
Yeah.
First pot of the year. I guess I'm going into a fight.
I'm here. I'm the real curly.
It's a new year, new Jimmy too.
Yeah, and it's not.
Khalid, what are we talking about?
It really isn't.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking about the 2022 anime series Chainsaw Man. And I've got a synopsis from our homeboy Google. It's a
fuck that! Please don't call Google your homeboy.
I mean,
Google cost me $600 in 2022, at least.
Look, whatever happened between you and my homeboy is none of my concern.
Why can't you support like Wikipedia? You know, something open and free, and you know,
Wikipedia is trying a little too hard. My homeboy Google keeps it nice and succinct.
I'm sure.
So, anyways, Jimmy, I have a synopsis from my homeboy Google that goes a little something like this. Betrayed and killed, a teenager named Denji gets revived as Chainsaw Man, a soul with a devil's heart. That's it.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
So, Jimmy, you're the one who brought this to us. Like you were reading the manga. You're really excited about it. Really, the show came out this year, and kind of pushed us to watch it. It honestly, to me, was sort of the push to kind of get me back into that like swing of being interested in anime again. I feel like it's something that's always like a tertiary interest of mine. Like I like the ideas that come forward in animes a lot, but I never get around to watching them. Mm-hmm. And so having actually sat through and watching this, I'm like, okay, I got to dive into some more of these. So I was really excited, and I'm glad you brought it to us. So let's get into some initial thoughts. We'll start with...
I'd actually like to make a note for the record that Joe's relationship with anime is actually worse than that, because he likes the ideas of the anime. He never watches the anime, but he watches all of the bad, low-budget Japanese live-action adaptations of the anime.
I have done that. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And I have never met anyone else who does that.
It's less of a commitment.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no.
You get the gist. It certainly
is that, yeah.
You get the gist.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that's on the record now.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, since you're the guest, tell us why you wanted this to be on the podcast and why you love it.
So, if you are anywhere in the... So I work at... I work at a college, Hamlin University in St. Paul.
Professor.
And yes. Professor of Keys is what they call it. Emeritus. And
keep going. Sorry, keep going.
Put me on blast, Joe. No. So, like, I worked at a campus. You guys have kind of hyped me up as because I guess the first thing I brought was Uzumaki, but like as the anime guy or the friend who's into anime and manga and all that. And I've always kind of chafed at that because it is true, but I didn't like most of it because there's a lot of, as we kind of have to get into, I think, with any discussion, there's a lot of weird just sexism and different kind of things that it's just kind of gross or weird or other stuff that is just generally not kind of my thing in it. But I liked cartoons and comics so much, and America just doesn't and hasn't given a shit about those things to a degree that I would enjoy until very recently. And there's one country in the world that has, where it's like supported a very active industry of in both those mediums, like not just treating animation as like a children's, fantasy feature stuff, but an actual medium to tell stories about adults, about without whatever, and having the thing where the fact that these aren't actual people, you can kind of stretch and play scenes differently and do stuff that wouldn't work in live action, as I think the Cowboy Bebop Netflix adaptation would attest, that is really flexible and cool. And so I always was trying to, and then especially over COVID, I really like took I always like would dip my toe and maybe get it above the calf, and then I would pull back at the last second, just be like, no, 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 no. And but I finally just kind of went full in, just because I don't know, I just needed as much of an escape as possible, and it's been a cool journey. And the thing is that I was really looking for Chainsaw Man. I was looking for a manga or a property that would like go right up there with my favorite stories everywhere else. It's, for me, Chainsaw Man is right up there with Aliens, the best of Batman, the Predators, the Aliens versus the Predators. No, I'm just kidding, not really. Like it is what I was looking for, especially in the genre it's in, which we should get into, is shonen. It feels kind of like a reinvention and so if you're at all dialed into like anime, I don't know how much of our audience would overlap with that group. You wouldn't be surprised. This isn't the first time you're hearing about it. Was one of the most hyped shows of the last like 3-4 years, and it has an insanely big budget for a show of its type, and it is a very good adaptation. But the story is like just really great. I don't know. I can't like I really I basically forced this down your guys' throats until for months now. I have been like working this on you.
And good on you.
I don't regret it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a interesting, we'll definitely get into some of that stuff, and like you said, the genre that it kind of takes place in. I just kind of wanted to say it was a lot of fun. Jimmy, you kind of came over to our house to watch several of the episodes with me, and that was kind of fun to talk through them afterwards. But what I really enjoyed about it is, I mean, of course, being like coming from this podcast perspective, like the creature designs were one thing that stood out, and we'll definitely dig into that stuff later. But
oh yes, oh baby,
there's just this like really interesting kind of combination of really ridiculous humor in this show, deadpan humor, and like really but also like an earnestness to it, like this exploration of like people who are and also feel ostracized from society and from like even just like what mainstream culture expects of them, and then seeing like this kind of like almost found family element develop from that, and complete with like awkward bits and strange interactions that kind of lead to deeper bonds and connections that we see in some episodes. It's cool. It's just really cool how they're able to swing both ways on that with some really like ridiculous, silly bits, and almost like sometimes feels like a raunchy sex comedy in the beginning too, but like with elements of like, I mean, almost like an Evil Dead or like Hellboy kind of thing. I think I saw somebody bring up Hellboy and Evil Dead in a review, like a combo of those two, and I could see that. But it's just really well done. A strong story, fascinating world that I'm really excited to dig more into. But really, it's like the characters that we're following are kind of the heart of it, and it's this crazy world that they could probably even dig even deeper into. But the focus is these characters, and I think that's what kind of makes it so powerful and interesting, and keeps the world a little bit mysterious too. So I loved all that stuff, and just wanted to say that. But Khalid, why don't we bring you in here? What were your thoughts?
I've been dying to hear Khalid's thoughts on this. Really, genuinely.
Oh yeah, it's simple. I hated it. Every single second. No.
Fucking knew it.
Whenever I came out here just ready, I'm just like ready to trash it after all those nice things you both said. Like, you couldn't have gotten it more wrong, Joe.
God damn it! It's the cotillion all over again, Joe.
No, guys, yeah. Jimmy, thank you so much for bugging us to watch this because this is amazing. Like, I don't say this lightly. This might be my favorite like show that like very casually just like gets meta and jumps between genres. Like, this might be my favorite show to really like play with that sense Community. Like, that's what I realized by the end of it, where it just like it so confidently knows what it is in its 12 episode span, and it somehow touches on like everything you can think of while like not making you feel like it's like slowing down to do it. Like, it's just
Mhm.
the story is so breakneck and trying to like get so much out that you're just buckling in for the ride.
Oh,
It was great. I loved the fight sequences. They were amazing, but even more than that, I just love the interpersonal relationships of everybody and the way that the show like so intelligently like dares you to question like the entire point of Chainsaw Man or a character like
hmm
Chainsaw Man. It's all just done in like a really confident like you don't even need to give us the benefit of the doubt since we're season one. Like, we will literally like just hit you with our best shot.
I cannot. And the thing is that unlike so many, like, I can't wait for you guys to see what comes after this, because I am telling you guys, this is packing peanuts compared to what will happen, no doubt, in season 2 and 3. Like, it's gonna be wild.
Oh, I'm
Um,
hype. I'm hype.
I read the entire comic, all 117-page chapters, all 100 and change at the time, 17-page chapters in, I think, a day and a half, while
Wow.
working. Like, I just couldn't stop. It was amazing.
I feel like we should get into, for anyone who's not familiar with with the show, like a little bit deeper of a like just a general kind of like
Yeah.
synopsis. Like, so
Before
no,
we do that, why don't we break down what it is and what a shonen is? Kind of, is that? Do you
no,
think that's all
yeah,
right,
that's a
Joe?
great
Let's
idea.
start with kind of like
Yeah.
what are you walking into, and then we can get into so this show is technically like it's from a manga magazine called Shonen Jump. That is kind of the most famous of all the manga magazines in Japan. And rather than selling you overpriced single issues for $4 like they do in America, in Japan for their comics, they bundle them all into one magazine, and then they sell it for like what, $7-8 or something, and you get like 10, each week you get 10 new comics to check out. So it kind of helps like a lot of smaller stuff, because even the people that want to find out what would say happen next in Batman still like might end up discovering like, oh, hey, this Jonah Hex is actually really interesting and cool. I think it would be a better way to do it than what American comics have taken, basically.
Yeah.
But so like this genre is called shonen, and that's the name of the magazine, which is literally just young boy in Japanese. But like what shonen as a genre is Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, if you're familiar. So that kind of would become, that was like the Superman for the genre, where it created the template of what it is, and it's like magical martial arts system, maybe. Main character who's like, usually eager young main character who's going on a big adventure and wants to grow and become powerful, and a bunch of crazy weird opponents that just steadily over time you go from just like small scale little episodic monster of the week adventures until like usually you're fighting over galaxies by the end of a shonen like series or whatever. And they're typically self-contained stories, unlike say like American comics, superhero comics. They don't really do they don't do official crossovers and all that. There's actually a ton of crossovers. I shouldn't say that, but they don't have like an interconnected MCU thing. But so shonen, like it goes through Dragon Ball. The biggest one of all time is One Piece, which is a manga that has been going on. It is ongoing and almost entirely weekly since 1997. There is 1,068 chapters that I read over the last 3 months.
Damn.
Actually, oh, I do. Yeah, I just did it just because I had buddies that really wanted me to, and Yeah, so like that's a big one. Naruto, if you remember that one, I don't know
Hmm.
a thing about Naruto. Bleach, those are ones that have kind of permutated and come in, but they're all kind of this thing where it's really conventional, like, you know, guy finds his magic powers or something, goes on a quest, gets stronger, sort of. And Chainsaw Man is technically one of those, but it's a lot more, which is what sets it apart.
Right. That's a good breakdown. Yeah. And did you kind of say like you sort of don't love the shonen genre, right?
No, I have a lot of like there's fun aspects to it. So another thing we should talk about is the Japanese manga industry has a tremendous amount of burnout because they have these single creators who are for the most part writing their own stories, drawing their own stories. Usually if they get big enough they'll start getting assistants to help them with backgrounds and the like. But they have to hit 17 pages a week almost consistently. And it was weird starting to read manga because you'd like read letters from the author and they're constantly apologizing about like having to take breaks because they were so sick. Like it's just like, wait, what is going on with like is there like an illness that specifically attacks comic artists in Japan? It was like, what the heck is going on? And it's like an unhealthy work environment, which um is like a thing that we'd have to go over because it also spreads to the anime industry and all that kind of stuff. But part of the problem with that is that as these stories go on and these guys are weeks into things, these stories also with the natural tendency where you want to up the stakes, these stories really become bloated messes and they go on forever, and I always peter off, and I don't have like a lot of love for the genre, I have to say.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
But that's fascinating context for everything. I think that's thanks for explaining that to us, Jim.
maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
um,
Yeah, but I get going off of that and kind of going into like what Chainsaw Man is. The synopsis from that Khalid said was pretty general and basic. So we got our main character Denji, who kind of like forms this hybrid relationship with his devil that was kind of been a pet before, right? Like, was he like kind of found like they made a friendship with it, which is the Chainsaw Devil, and that was Pochita, right? Am I saying that right, Jim?
yeah, so Puchita, I think,
Puchita.
is how they say it according to the subs. But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, Puchita, I think, is what generally anglicized. So Chainsaw Man, it takes place in this world that is basically like ours, but there, as you go on, you learn there are some key differences. Chief among them being that there is a phenomena where whenever there is a concept that enough people know about and understand, if that is a concept that enough people start to fear, that concept will form something called a devil, which is this kind of immortal thing that can switch. They're just kind of a monster, sort of. And how powerful and dangerous the monster is directly relative to how many people fear this thing. And
It's kind of like patron saints, right, Jimmy?
yeah, yeah, a bit. So you have like the example they give in the early on in the show is like coffee. Everybody knows about coffee. There's a lot of people that know about it. So there's a good chance there'd be a devil, maybe. But also, coffee as a concept does not like give a lot of people fear. So it would be an extremely weak devil if there was one. But then you have things like war, famine, blood, just wounds, like various weapons, darkness, even eternity, that kind of thing. Those concepts, which kind of freak a lot of people out, tend to manifest in very dangerous devils, and there is both an official, uh, like every government basically has its own official group of people that they basically have trained to try like kill these devils, usually by basically capturing other devils, subduing them, and then forcing them into contracts with them in order for the people to give up parts of themselves or something, and then receive kind of powers from them in return. And Denji is a impoverished boy who's inherited all of his father's debts to the Yakuza and is uneducated, has lived in a shed most of his life, has, as we meet in the beginning, he has had organs harvested from him in order to pay off these debts. And the one bright spot of his life is that he met a little devil that is extremely small and cute that kind of looks like a puppy, but it's got a chainsaw for its head. And they kind of form a working relationship where they go and they'll kill devils for the Yakuza, who can then take the devil's body parts and sell it on the black market, which you couldn't do if the like government's devil hunters took care of them, sort of. And
I
that's
have
how he's been
issue.
scraping by so far.
Okay, so I'm confused because if these devils, like how powerful or like fierce they look is directly related to like the fear that the thing is inspired by, how come the chainsaw devil looks like a cute little puppy?
Yeah, it's Khalid, that's an interesting question.
Do you have an answer?
I might.
They
Oh.
You're not
they
going to get
wanted
one
to
on this
sell
podcast.
toys. Is that the
Huh?
answer? They wanted to sell
Yes,
plush little
yes, it's
chainsaw
to
man
sell-
toys.
But he's
Right.
also not even in that much of it. Like it's in like one
Yeah.
episode.
He's in
Yeah.
enough to make a plushie, Joe.
Well, I will certainly
he's,
buy
he's
one.
as,
But
as Show showed me, he's in enough to make a $500 vinyl figurine.
oh yeah, that's right. I saw that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I'm not
Like-
gonna buy that, but
No.
no, he's
Uh,
worth every penny. That makes sense.
That's
Pochita
true.
rules.
he is great. Yeah.
It's 1-to-1 scale. I'll give it that
Yeah.
much.
So yeah, but yeah, that's some good context there. But essentially, as
To
we
follow
end
up Khalid's point, Pochita is an exception to the rule. There might be a reason for that. That's
okay,
all. That's all.
so
we
it's a
will have to
TBD
say.
for us.
Yeah.
For us show watchers, it's a TBD.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we follow Denji as he's now like fused hybrid with Pochita as like now the Chainsaw Man. He can pull this like
It's a ripcord.
ripcord from his chest. Thank you, Khalid, and become the Chainsaw Man, where he has like chainsaws for arms and like a chainsaw in his head, and like uses blood to like rejuvenate himself. And he becomes a member of the government organization of Devil Hunters, which is what do they call themselves?
Division 4, public safety.
Public Safety Division 4. And so the show, we follow Denji, but also like the other members of Division 4, which are some pretty unique and fun characters who we can get into as well. Kind of like that's where I mentioned the found family element, where they have, bumps along the road, but end up forming these really interesting relationships with each other. And we kind of follow some of their adventures, which is at first a little bit more like episode of the week, but then we see there's definitely an overarching story going on. And I'm sure in this podcast we'll get into some spoilers, but yeah, we'll definitely get into the devils that they encounter in the show. But I'll say it right here, there's like an overarching kind of looming threat of this one called the Gun Devil, who we don't see in the first season, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that kind of, I think that breaks down like simply enough like where we're kind of at. I wanted to just give a quick shout out to the writer of the manga. I wrote the name down. It's Tatsuki Fujimoto. He wrote the manga, and the anime itself is directed by, I believe we said it was Ryu Nakayama as the director. And so those are some of the creatives behind.
Also, Masato Nakazono.
Yep, chief episode director. Yeah, that's right. I got that. I forgot that one. But yeah, and there's a couple other names I'm going to mention mention further on. But that's just some of the creatives behind the scenes for making the show come to life. I did have an interesting quote from Fujimoto about the work that he does and like as a manga creator and like kind of his inspiration, which I thought was fascinating. He said in an interview that he wanted to, quote, draw manga like Korean films, citing the 2008 South Korean film The Chaser as an example. And he said, the main character chases after the villain, but 30 minutes into the movie, he catches him. This is supposed to happen at the end of the movie, so you keep wondering what will happen next. A lot of people say that in Korean movies, they cannot tell what the director is thinking, but actually, if you watch until the end, you will get it. I wanted to make something like that. So I feel like it's interesting, and I think that quote was pretty apt with Chainsaw Man, because it's like things that you think would be something you'd be building up to happen quick, and then you're like, okay, well, now where we're going next, and I think that's really interesting to think about.
Oh, I would absolutely say that this, on top of everything else that the manga and the anime has so far taken from it, does well. The absolute best thing is its sense of pacing, where it knows how to set things up. It knows exactly how much you need to know in order to get invested in, say, a character or a situation. And then it hits it with maximum impact and then sweeps you right along. Like it plays its hand and then it comes up with a new one, Right. And it's like it leaves you to a point where you're just like, oh no, like once you realize that they're going to pull the rug out from you, you're like, no, I was in for this, please. Like, let's keep doing this. Like, don't do this now. And it maintains that extremely well, which is rare for anime and especially shonen, because boy, is that normally. I don't think that's something I could say about any other shonen anime or manga I have consumed at all. It's quite the opposite problem.
Yeah.
No,
Usually.
definitely. I think that the command of rhythm that this show has is like so notable. It's wild like how fast it can all feel, and then it just like the times it chooses to slow down and how right it feels, cuz like sometimes it'll slow down and it's just like 2 episodes worth of just action. And it doesn't feel like it's slowing down, but compared to like the relative pace of the rest of the show, it is, because
Yeah.
you're just in one location long enough to watch like all these like beautiful fight sequences. And then the other times it slows down, it's like, oh, we're like in a workplace comedy right now. Like they're all just like at a work dinner, just like getting hammered and like talking about life and their philosophies. It's insane. This is the same show from like 30 minutes ago. So that I really just wanted to drop in and say that, like, it's impressive what it could do. And like, it really felt like we were being like conducted at times, where it's like, move really fast, now move slow, now really just like kind of linger in this. And it conducted it well.
Yeah, it like, and that extends to just like, even as somebody who's trying to write a comic book, like the paneling in the comic is like an absolute masterwork. Even if his art, you could have critiques about the way he draws things or the quality. He's a self-taught artist who's never had any formal training, and I'll grant it, sometimes it shows, but I think that actually kind of is a strength, because the weird faces sometimes are, I think, kind of endearing. But his paneling and his layouts of his pages and the way, like, sometimes I can't, like, the anime adaptation is about as freaking good as you could make an anime in this day and age. And what little additions it makes do actually, I think, for the most part, like, help the show. But like, the comic is just such a good comic that still, when I saw some of the ways that things played out in like live action, it was just like, man, like he played that out so perfectly as a gag in the comic that like it's just not as great as it was in the whatever, just because like it's a thing where, yeah, they gave it their best shot and it just doesn't translate as well to like actual time and pacing and whatever, which is why like I like, you should definitely watch the show, but I would heavily recommend the comic is also like very much still worth checking out.
Yeah, and then you get a little sneak preview at what the future seasons hold too.
Kalita, you and I had kind of texted a little tiny bit back and forth when you were watching. And I think we both agreed that one of our favorite kind of little mini plot arcs was the motel where they're stuck on the 8th floor with the Eternity Devil, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
so
think
good.
that was I
No,
think
yeah.
that episode is just kind of a good example of like what we're talking about, where it has some really great action moments, but it also has a lot of these really like slowed down character moments where like the team is really finally coming together. And it's just a really good example too of how weird it can get and how weird the devil's powers can manifest and how weird they can look. And like, anyway, I thought that was just a really fascinating episode. Do you guys have any specific like standout moments or episodes to you that you think kind of exemplify why you love it?
I gotta go with the bat fight. I mean, I think it's just like, okay, on an action level, it's a very satisfying fight. You know, like it's this like kaiju level, like giant bat that's about to like consume an entire town. Like it's literally moments before it attacks in the city, talking about how it's going to start its meal with like a baby or a child or something, and then it's going to have a big strong man for like the main course, and then it's gonna have a pregnant lady for dessert. Like it's like the show's doing everything it can to make like kicking this monster's ass like feel good. And then that happens. Chainsaw Man really just holds his own, and like for the first time really in the show as Chainsaw Man, like against like a formidable enemy, this is like the fight, and they do such a good job. But on top of that, it also takes the time in story to have like the main character just like shit on the like fundamental concept of character motivation, which is so amazing and so great, because like the show like up until now has been doing a good job of like showing you all these characters with like their archetypal and like kind of cliched reasons. It's like, I want to avenge my family, I want to protect my family, like really like just broad motivations in general. But then Chainsaw Man like the show and the character doubles down on like, well, I'm sorry that like my motivation isn't so deep, but yeah, I'm willing to fight this kaiju to touch a boob, you know?
Yeah.
And say what you will about that, but like at the end of the day, does it matter? Does this kaiju still need to be stopped? Am I stepping up to do it? So who cares if I don't have the most noble reason?
If your dream was defeated by a man whose only motivation was to grope someone, what does that say about your commitment to your dreams? You know,
They
he like
literally
literally
say
says
that.
that. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I just like what it
Yeah.
like for me that's when it clicked cuz like up
Yep.
until then there was so much to like about it like not which of least is Denji is just Fry from Futurama. Like like that enough would have been like would have carried me through the season. Just like watching like basically Fry and like this like amazing like anime-esque like adventure. But on top of all of that, to have the self-awareness of like people are going to cringe at like all the boob jokes and stuff, and to really just stare that in the eye and like dare you to criticize what it takes for this guy to do the most amazing thing ever.
So yeah, Khalid opened that can of worms, which we would have to get into, and
Oh,
we
for
should.
sure.
Which is good because that is something that like to the greatest freaking barrier of getting people into watching anime and manga is the weird hang-ups in the Japanese film industry. It is extremely male driven. There's a lot of aspects of Japanese society, and it is not proper to like push it on all of them or anything, because you also have, say, like a creator like I mean, granted, it's only one guy, but you know, they gave us Hayao Miyazaki, who has been making maybe the best feature films with a female, the most consistently good like female protagonist films, I think, from any one singular creator who is also male, you know, and all that. Like for some reason, he's an outlier, but like throughout the industry, there are things like how in America for the longest time, if you were going to have a black person, they were an idiot who was incapable and was like would have the big lips and all that caricature, and they would talk. You would make sure that they couldn't ever just speak like anybody else. You had to make sure that they were speaking in like whatever kind of like degrading accent and all that, and nobody thought anything of it. Japan sort of has still throughout its industry that problem, especially with women and sexualization of them, and a hesitance to like see any problem with doing that to also minors, and that just becomes such a minefield when you're trying to introduce people to things, because so many times where it's just like it doesn't bring anything to the show. Why is this? Oh, so I got distracted. Sorry. So like that kind of trope that used to be in American culture. Sorry, I brought up the minstrel trope. Is literally a gag trope for a long time in Japanese culture, which is an old perverted old man who's just trying to grope younger girls, and he'll grope them, and then they'll kick the crap out of him, and that is just like an absolute, as far as I can understand from my forays into that is an absolute staple of like the Japanese like sense of humor, I guess, because it is just in so many things, especially older stuff. It's starting to get better, but when you get into Chainsaw Man, it might seem like it's going in that direction, but thankfully what really sold me on the comic was that it has something, it's for a reason.
Joe,
No,
what did you think about it all?
I mean, I think that Jimmy was here and we talked about this like exact theme. Like it's interesting because it's not just played off as a joke. It's actually brought into like a big like character arc and motivation for him. Like he does kill off the bat. He rescues Power's cat, who's this like fiend character who's like, Jim, what's a fiend?
All right, so a fiend. So occasionally devils will have bodies. Sometimes devils resemble humans. Sometimes they resemble kind of monsters. But sometimes devils will possess a corpse, and at that point they then become what they call a fiend, which is just they'll just look like that, and then they'll just kind of live as that corpse. And then whenever they die, basically they there's also like a reincarnation aspect to devils, where when they die they go to hell. Then when they die in hell, apparently they then get reincarnated on Earth, and they don't really remember they remember their life on Earth and hell, but they don't really, I don't know if they touched on this in the first season. They don't
No.
actually remember what happens to them in hell. They just know that they died in hell and now they're back on Earth. Kind of.
So yeah. So anyway,
Part of
there's a character called Power who's a fiend. She's like the blood fiend, right? So she can control blood, and she's part of the organization as well. And without saying too much, because I know there's so much to say about everything, Power and Denji have a really fun, like, kind of sibling relationship dynamic throughout the whole series that is really leads to a lot of the humor. But anyway, he saves her cat from this bat devil, and the deal was that he could like touch her boobs, and he's super excited about this. Does it, but then is like kind of let down by it, and it's a really interesting arc for him because he's like, I did the thing that I've wanted to do, and
Yeah.
what's next? Like, what's next? And he realizes that he like kind of like a young, what he's like a 16-year-old boy. He's kind of like figuring out the steps of like what's next, and that like boobs aren't the end all of it. It's like now he's kind of like, well, now I want to have sex next. And then he kind of like was like, well, actually, I'm kind of like, I want to have sex with the right person. And so he kind of has this development into that, which is so interesting that it starts off like the trope, like Jimmy's trying to point out. It's that tropey, silly, dumb thing, but they take it and make it into something meaningful for the character, while still being silly and ridiculous with it a lot of the time. But it's just it's cool. I think it did a really good job of like turning that on its head and really making it something worthwhile to watch.
Yeah, and maybe we should kind of establish. So you have you have Power, who's kind of becomes his partner in crime, and they're a trio with another guy who's just a regular human called Aki, whose family was murdered. So in their world,
he's basically the Batman of the group.
Yes. So in their world, the most powerful and feared devil is the gun devil, because for a long time, like gun companies in America were basically like, hey, aren't you afraid of devils? Like, aren't you tired of them attacking you? Well, guess what kills devils? Guns do. What should everyone own? Guns. So people started buying a ton of guns.
Well, I think you're missing
raised...
you're missing the biggest part of the information dump on the gun devil, which is 9/11 created him.
No, so
wasn't
basically,
it like a huge terror attack, and then they cut to
in their alternate history, like getting to that, all these people bought guns. Gun crimes started to go way up. Like, I don't know. That's the most unrealistic thing of the show, I think, really, is just the idea that if you had a bunch of guns in a society, that it'd cause all these problems. But it's anime. just overlook it.
A little fantastic.
Anyway, so all these crimes start happening, which then makes all these people start fearing guns, which then causes the gun devil to become an absolute, like, seismic event that basically creates their version of 9/11. In the wake of an attack with guns, that is kind of their analog to 9/11, people got so scared at that moment that basically a single devil tore across, I think, 2 or 3 continents in 5 minutes or something, and killed like almost hundreds of thousands of people, basically before it just disappeared, is as far as they know. Like it, and that is sort of what is established as the end goal. Aki's entire family died in that incident, and he has pretty much put his life towards trying to do the absolute impossible task of tracking down this devil. So part of what they are doing, like one of the overarching stories of the season, is there's so much power in the gun devil that even the pieces of its body, which are kind of like fleshy bullets that it dropped behind during its rampage, if another devil comes in contact with them, they get much stronger. So they're kind of hunting down these abnormally strong devils and seeing if they have the gun devil's flesh in them, and then retrieving that. And if they put enough of that flesh together, that flesh will start pointing them to where the full body of the gun devil is. And that's kind of like you learn is their mission as thing goes on, sort of. But I think a really good thing about the show and the comic, and I think it's something in common with my other favorite show of this year, Andor. It's Andor?
Yeah, Andor.
Andor. Is that like I think a lot of problems with me in the streaming era, and it's cool because like reading shonen, they were having these problems, at least in my eyes, since like the 90s, is that like you have a thing where you have a great concept, like say a show I love, like Severance, which feels like somebody had like an idea for a movie. They wanted a show out of it. They were able to get like 4 episodes worth of like plot spread really well between that, but they had like an 8 or 10 episode order. And so much in like, since streaming has become so big for me, you have these middle parts of shows where you just have like things are happening, but it doesn't have any consequence. Normally you can cut out like those middle episodes and just watch like the first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes, and you'll almost 110% know exactly what's going on, because so much of those, I think it's a real big problem as people are trying to figure out this new idea of like serialized storytelling. And what's really surprising to me is that both Andor and Chainsaw Man have kind of come up with this thing where instead they sort of make these like sort of groups of 3 or 4 episode mini arcs, and they have like one big thing they're building to in each season, but they're also along the way you have these like concentrated little like vignettes, like they're running in the hotel with the Eternity Devil, that they can like focus on one aspect, develop it, put a little information into the big one, and then you still get like catharsis, wrap up, climaxes, all of that, and it's still meaningful.
No,
Kinda,
yeah, the Chainsaw Man definitely used the 12 episodes wisely. I don't feel like there was
Yeah.
a second that was wasted.
I
mean,
need to shut up. I'm talking way too much. Sorry.
It was a really
I've been so
roundabout
pumped.
way for Jim to tell us about the third character, Aki. So,
Oh, this episode is gonna be awful. Like,
so yeah,
I
that's
need
the other
to
character.
write myself an outline for sure. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Oh.
so we have Aki, we have Power, we have Denji, we have Himino is the next one, which is Aki's partner, and she's the one with the eye patch. She's a really interesting character because she's gone through so many partners that have died on her, and she struggles with connection, and we see that played out in different ways. And kind of this numbness that she has to reality, which is fascinating. And then we have the 2 other new recruits. I forget their name that we have in that.
Chobani is the girl.
Chobani. Okay.
And the guy just doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's not there very long anyway, but he's there for a little bit. And then in the end of the season 1, we meet a bunch of new kind of fiend and devil characters that join public safety that I think from what I've heard from you, Jim, we're going to learn much more about them as the series goes on, correct?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I want to find out more about that shark dude.
Shark dude was
the
so
shark
cool.
fiend, the shark. Oh my god, I can't wait. The shark fiend is going to have a moment, you guys. Like, he's really going to have a fantastic moment.
It feels like they're really leaning into the X-Men of it all for the next season.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
That's not a bad comparison, because as we see kind of by the end of this, they have introduced who's running their sector of public safety is a figure called Makima, which now that I've said her name, I now have to obligatory.
What does that mean?
Basically, anytime anybody posts any like Makima cosplay picture or fan art they do of Makima, it is by law you have to post arf 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 bark 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 or something like woof. Like those are what the top 30 comments have to be, basically, in the fandom. Just because Makima is she likes dogs a lot. And so then she literally calls Denji like her are you?
She does
dog
for a second episode, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's just like woof.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
So it's a thing where everyone's so hot for Mama Makima that like you just like and I don't know.
I mean, the character would appreciate that. Just a room full of guys just like subservient like that.
Mm-hmm.
She would.
She is. Yeah. She's a figure because she takes in Denji, and so what's kind of neat, and I guess so. Like, let's bring this back to superhero comics for a second in the West. So you had the Golden Age where they introduced like Batman and Superman, right, in the 30s. Then you had the Silver Age where you started having stuff like Green Lantern, Marvel, Spider-Man came into that. You had like some really famous like weird Batman and Superman stories. Things got really crazy there, and those are kind of like the Fantastic Four. All these concepts came in, and then you had the Bronze Age or whatever, or the 80s. You had this like really dark reinvention where you started having like really good writers like Alan Moore and really terrible people like Frank Miller writing these very seminal works that completely reinvented the characters and changed the industry and brought a lot of nuance and gravitas to what is a bunch of people in spandex running around and jumping on each other, basically. And it So if you were to kind of, for shonen as a genre to compare, so let's say that Dragon Ball was sort of the golden age, where it's like, hey, here's the template, here's your Superman, it's Goku. He's he's a little monkey kid. He becomes a strong dude. He wants to be the strongest guy in the universe. He loves fighting people. He's really dumb. And then we move on and we have like the Silver Age, which we have One Piece and Naruto. And so it's like, here's Naruto. He's a little ninja dude. He's really dumb. He wants to be the ninja king. Here's Luffy. He's a rubber guy who lives on the sea. He wants to go to the end of the world, find the hidden island, find Gold D. Rogers' One Piece, the treasure that is all in one piece there, and that way become the king of all pirates. And he's really dumb, you know. And I would personally posit, and I'm sure this is up for debate, this is my own opinion, that Chainsaw Man is sort of now like the Alan Moore Watchmen or Dark Knight Returns kind of like Dark Age thing, where they're taking this conflict of, here's Denji, he's lived in poverty, he just, his goal is literally the thing that brings him back to life is that he kept telling Puchita about all his dreams that he wanted to do once he got out of debt. And so when he dies, Buchita's like, I always liked listening to you talk about your dreams, about eating toast with jam. Or he like, Denji focuses once he comes back, like he wants to touch a girl's boob. But when he's talking about it, he's like, I want to like fall asleep watching a movie together or something. Like what he really wants is like companionship and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, so the overarching goal of Denji is to just live a comfortable life. And that's what makes it really interesting, because the show and the story is designed to make the tension being like, not will Denji like survive all these things, because as you very quickly learn, Denji's nigh immortal. But, and I really appreciate that, they just kind of take he's the main character, they're not going to kill him, so let's just make him like invulnerable, and that way we can use him dying as kind of a thing, a story device.
I mean, a comedic device, really.
Yes,
like, they go full Looney Tunes with his immortality.
Oh my god!
By the end.
He beats the Bat Devil and just goes like, yes, and then immediately gets his arm blown off.
He gets his arm blown off. He gets sliced in half.
Oh my god!
One of his training montages is just the guy repeatedly murdering him.
That's so good,
dude. When he starts making those baby noises, and then like you're just sitting there like, what's happening? And then you find out that that's literally his brain reforming. Like he's actually just a baby until his brain develops. It's so funny.
Oh my god, I never thought of it like that. Khalid, that's so true. That's exactly what's happening. And then he gets back because Power jumps on him, and instead of like helping him or whatever, she starts beating the crap out of him to like heal until he regains that's a great way to put it.
It's so great. And yeah, Denji and Power, like that's just like one of my favorite all-time pairings. Like Power is just such a great, like she's Bender. If Denji's Fry, then Power is Bender.
Power is fantastic.
And she just does an amazing job. Like so funny and so chaotic in a way that like you never know what's gonna happen. Obviously, I have to shout out the Nobel Prize joke in the hotel. Where like they're breaking down, like everybody's going crazy because we're stuck in this like hotel and we might starve to death, and they start listing off all the crazy things people are doing, and then she goes, oh, and Power won't stop talking about winning a Nobel Prize, and then she's just like, oh no, she's okay, that means she's normal.
And then she's like, then like everyone's like, Denji, you have to kill yourself so the devil will let us out, and Aki's the only one like saying like, no, you're not gonna do that, and everyone's just like, do it, Denji, do it. And then like Power puts her arm on his shoulder, and it's all framed like she's gonna be like, no, Denji, like don't throw yourself. She's like, Denji, kill yourself so I can win my Nobel, so I can accept my Nobel Prize.
Winning it is a foregone.
She's already won it. She's already won it. She just needs to accept it.
Right. The tragedy would be if she wasn't there to accept it. Joe, what did you like? I feel like I haven't really gotten your thoughts on like what was like your like favorite outstanding moment.
I was talking about that episode at the Eternity Devil.
Is the Eternity Devil for you?
Yeah, I think that was like the episode I felt like the most excited about. But I don't know. I'm trying to think what would be if there's another favorite moment. I have to say that another favorite moment might be Aki meeting the Future Devil.
Oh yeah.
I
pretty
sorry,
good.
love
I
that.
shouldn't have clapped. That's bad. That's bad podcast. I'm sorry. I don't know if that can, I hope that didn't show up.
You've deafened half our fan base.
You've ruined the whole episode.
Oh no, Nikki.
Wow. But yeah, no, I really love that. I feel like there was just like I like the build up to it and like the fear, like the tension that you have kind of going into the cell of the future devil, and then like how just kind of goofy he is as a character.
Okay, so
I'm very excited to see more of that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to keep interrupting. I really want to let you guys talk about it because I love hearing about what you guys have to say. Nice things about the thing I love. But like the moment I knew that I was really pumped for this show was I'd avoided watching the trailer release. I think before I read the manga, but I read the whole comic in like a day and whatever. And I think even before that first day was over, I like watched the trailer. And at that point, I had already reached the point of the future devil. And when well, no, like it wasn't just the first trailer had already come out actually, but also they'd released the opening cinematic. And in the opening cinematic, which we really should break down because it's fantastic and so bizarre, they show in the comic the future devil is shown being just like posed and like not moving, and he's just kind of standing like a tree.
Yeah.
And but he says is like the future is rad. Like say the future's rad, bro. And he's my favorite character, and it's that. And when when I was watching the opening, and the one thing they used to represent the future devil is just him boogieing down in a kaleidoscope of like bizarre. I was just like, okay, these people know exactly
They get it.
what this comic needs to come to life. Like, yes, that is the future devil.
Yes.
Well, it kind of does like a fun thing on like what Barry does with the show, the HBO show Barry, where it's like the joke is that like all of like the like creepy evil mob stuff is funny, and then like all of the like normally dorky like theater actors like being trained and stuff, which would normally just be like a point of like mockery or laughter, is like that's like the deadly serious stuff in Barry is like the joke. They inverse it, and I feel like to an extent they kind of do that with Chainsaw Man, where like a lot of the monsters are very irreverent and like it's all just like dumb, goofy, low stakes for them, and then it's like the coworkers and stuff are like the like super dramatic ones. And I don't know, I appreciated that inversion really just helped with like setting like a surreal tone to it all.
I mean, I think it stands to reason that if you are a being who has knowledge of their own like general immortality, and the fact that like you get stronger the more people are weirded out by you, kind of, then yeah, it would kind of be a rather fun existence to just be like, like I can just try stuff, like it doesn't matter, like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like I mean, I just think of like the zombie devil in the first episode.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's just like a punky little like shit talker. It's just like, God, you devil hunters suck so much. Like,
yeah.
It's like it's not any like huge sinister thing. Like killing Denji isn't like the key to anything. He's literally just like, you guys annoy me so much. Like I'm raising a zombie army to take you out.
And that's why like Chainsaw Man is like it's such a great thing for millennials. Bringing it back to Denji is that like earlier that point I was making, like he's not trying to be the king of pirates. He's not trying to be the strongest in the universe. He just wants to live a comfortable life. And Fujimoto kind of talked about how when you talk to like, he goes like, I grew up reading those other comics, and they always had these lofty goals, and they were written by people who grew up in the 80s when the Japanese economy was just conquering the entire world, and literally Blade Runner, Battletech, like Warhammer and all these things have weirdly prevalent kind of like that were started in the 80s. All these nerd things have like a weirdly prevalent fear of Japanese, not Chinese. You barely ever see Chinese in these properties, but it's like there was so much fear in the West of what Japan was accomplishing back in the 80s. And I mean, the Japanese kind of knew it, and you got those sentiments out of them from that era. But, now Fujimoto, I read an interview by him, and he was talking about like, now people are just kind of like, they just want to not be killing themselves 80 hours a week to get by. That's what young people desire. And so I just wanted to write a hero, who reflected that shift in the culture kind of.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
I hadn't picked up on that, but you say that and it makes so much more sense now, like why he's such a refreshingly fun character to follow.
Yeah, because he's like literally like it's easy for him. He's immortal. It's easy for him to like, kill a bunch of people, become the most powerful thing in the world. What's hard is him, learning how to be happy,
And it just
all
takes
that.
like the nobility out of it all, which is like
Mhm.
I think really important because like especially our generation and earlier, there is just like such a premium on setting up like who you are personally with like what your job says about you. And he's just like, my job doesn't say anything about me. Like I would literally take any job that paid full benefits and let me just like not live on the brink of poverty. And
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I just happen to be a monster hunter.
Around this time in the episode, we usually monster it up, but I feel like the
Oh,
monster
I think
stuff is
long before.
yeah, it's been we've kind of monstered it up the whole time along with everything. But I did kind of just want to reiterate kind of what Jim said in the beginning, that what I wrote down for like describing what the devils are is that they're creatures, supernatural entities that appear throughout the world. They're born with a name that correlates to a concept, ranging from something that's like highly tangible, like a tomato, like the tomato devil in the beginning, which was great, to like abstract concepts like future or the cursed devil, which is also really cool. Each name is unique to its respective devil. They manifest according to collective consciousness surrounding their names, and their embodiment of the fear that name represents. So that's kind of just an overview of the devils. We see a lot of different cool ones, like tomato, like zombie, like bat. There's a leech devil, fox, eternity. What else? We see snake devil, ghost devil. We hear about the gun devil. So those are some of the concepts that we see. Those are some of the ones I wrote down. Angel devil, which we meet in the very end, which I know we're going to learn more about. He was cool, or they were cool. I believe it was androgynous, right?
I believe, yes, the angel devil
Yeah,
doesn't really
yeah.
have. I think they state that they don't have a gender.
I think I think that was the case, and they were pretty cool.
Mhm.
So it's just interesting to see the range, and so obviously, like as the writer and artist, uh, Fujimoto like designed a lot of these creatures, but we also have in terms of the anime. Uh, Kiyotaka Oshiyama is the artist who did the devil designs for the show, which I think, to Jim, what you were saying, like seeing the future devil like boogieing and moving, like is something that kind of like a touch that I'm sure that he added into the show, which is pretty cool to see, and bringing that to life. But yeah, I think that the creatures were really great. The monster designs like instantly sucked me in. That was, someone who has a podcast about creature features, like I am all about this. This is fantastic.
Okay. Roll, Jean Pierre. Roll the what a monster thing.
What a
Oh,
yeah, there you go. What a
roll
monster.
it, roll it. We're gonna
Yeah.
finally start talking about the monsters, guys.
I mean, we don't do it like during the recording.
No,
Yeah. You have to pay extra for that. Yeah.
No, I think like what I love is like the world building of it all. I think they do a really good job of it in the same way that like the Avatar The Last Airbender series did with their mythos, where it's like they start with like the base concept of like in Avatar, it's like the elements, like there are four elements that like there are entire nations of people that can manipulate one of those four. And then with this, it's like they kind of start off with just like, yeah, devils are real. They're basically like these like bigger to kaiju size level like monsters that are representations of a thing that people fear. And then as the show goes on, it gets like really into the weeds about like what that means. Like one of my favorite aspects of it was the contracts that you could
contracts are
make
great.
with the monsters, and how that essentially meant that you get a Pokemon. You know what I mean? And it's like the rules kind of change where it's like sometimes like it's a Pokemon in the traditional sense where like you just like that one girl who has just like a few monsters that she can just on cue call. I know that Batman, what was Batman's name again in this? It's
Aki.
Aki. Aki has like that wolf that he can just like summon, or fox god.
Fox Devil, yeah.
Yeah, the fox devil that can like come up and just like consume anything that shows up like that's in his way. And then other times you are the Pokemon, or like like whatever contract you got with them like lets you like what was Himeno's
Himinos, yeah. It was
Himeno's
the
little
Ghost Devil.
the ghost devil hand that she could control. So like sometimes you are the Pokemon. I don't know. It was just all so like layered and dense, but like the show did such a good job of establishing the world at a base level that like you immediately understood like the consequences of like being able to do all of that other stuff.
And
Right.
I don't. What's so cool is I don't mean to keep playing the card of, oh, just wait and see till you get around. But like, what's cool is how much the show has already set up for things we will learn later on. That about like the devil rules. They definitely get more into things, and like the show like watching the anime after reading it was really cool because I got to see like in Denji's very first interaction with Makima, there is a very important like choice of phrasing that becomes extremely important in their relationship later on. That is like an important detail where you're just like, oh wow, like they seeded it like right, like he had that planned out right then. Fujimoto, I mean, like it's the world is extremely well constructed, and if you're a nerd who likes that, like it's very rewarding.
Agreed.
Uh,
Speaking of things that are well constructed, Khalid, sometimes bears are well constructed.
Okay.
How you 4 bears testing this, Khalid?
I thought it was gonna be tough, but the more we talk about it, the more it makes sense. A bear devil.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
can I? Sorry, I hate to keep fiddling with this last.
Do
I
you
had
know?
some
I don't know
ideas
if I
about
believe
this.
that anymore.
I don't think you hate it at all.
Well, you know what? Let's see what Khalid had. Yeah, Khalid, go on.
Bear devil. Yeah. What? That's the in this universe, like the bear devil would be like, yeah, if let's say even like if you just replace it with the bat devil, like I gotta think that there's a healthy fear of bears in this reality, and that a bear devil would be able to summon 4 bears that do his bidding, or the bear devil is just 4 bears that are mad powerful because of the fears associated with bears.
Well, wait. This is interesting because like you compare the Bat Devil and like bears are clearly more dangerous than bats, right? But I wouldn't say that I have like an active fear of bears in my life, living an urbanized sort of thing. It's not really a concern. If I were around a bear, for sure. But and again, I don't necessarily know how this would work for the Strength of Devils, but lots of people just have extremely irrational fears of bats, like my mom and like sisters and stuff. They just get freaked out by that. Do you think that the Bat Devil might actually be stronger than the Bear Devil just because there's so many more people that kind of just have to interact with bats and therefore
I would say that the conceptual fear of bats compared to the practical fear of bears is probably equal. Like you're not always going to be scared of bears, but like if you're in a situation to be scared of bears, it's going to like shoot through the meter,
Yeah.
And that's where like you kind of level out with like the consistent fear of bats.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
that
no,
makes
the
sense.
math
Yeah.
checks out. I just looked.
Adds up, huh?
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Pierre,
exactly.
John Pierre, run those numbers.
Yeah, but no, Chainsaw Man would probably. I would say that the Bear Devil would give Chainsaw Man a run for his money. Not that he would lose or anything. We've already established he's Bugs Bunny with like violent weapons attached to him. So, like, I don't think that the Bear Devil would win, but that's not really what the Four Bears test is about. I just don't think it would change the narrative at all to have him fight a Bear Devil. If anything, I'm looking forward to that episode because I'm sure they've thought of it.
Oh, it's glorious, Khalid. May I now tell you my idea for this?
Yes.
Yes.
I haven't talked enough in the last 3 hours we've been recording.
What's another 2 hours? Let's
Yeah.
go for it.
What about instead of a bear devil, a good, really nice starting point, nice, simple, cool, clean concept, Khalid. Good job on that. What if instead? What about the Four Bears test devil?
Oh,
what about the devil?
Okay, I'm
that
liking this.
represents the absolute terror and fear that is stricken in the hearts of creators everywhere at having to create a monster that will survive the Four Bears test. How about that devil?
They're shaking in their boots. That would
Yeah.
be a pretty powerful devil,
right?
I think that here's the only reason I think that the Four Bears test devil would fail. It functions completely on arbitrary rules that change arguably every time we do the Four Bears test. So there's no set way to fight it because it can just kind of mesh and meld and contort itself to suit its needs.
It's even more scary though.
Yeah, it's
terrifying.
scarier than the Eternity Devil at that point
Yeah,
because
it's up there with it.
even the Eternity Devil had rules that Chainsaw Man could manipulate. So I think that it would be too powerful and it would disrupt the narrative of Chainsaw Man eventually beating its foes.
I think we just found the final encounter of Chainsaw.
Wow.
It's the author Fujimoto versus the Four Bears Devil.
The Four Bears Test Devil.
Yeah, he's gonna go real Grant Morrison Animal Man on this story.
Wow.
Did he go up his own ass in Animal Man? Because that's kind of where this was going.
Oh wait, do you? Yeah.
I don't need a full primer on Animal Man.
Sorry. One of the more the most famous Animal Man run is Grant Morrison's. They inserted themselves into the climax of that and broke the fourth wall. Where Animal Man literally talks to it. Sorry.
I gotta just put a pin in that and say, speaking of inserting yourself into a climax, Khalid.
Oh God, Joe!
Damn, Joe!
Were you just vibrating in your chair when you heard that? Like
That was a pretty good one.
Please.
I had to take that one.
You can interrupt me anytime if you have something that beautiful.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
Steam just
Top
billowing
tier.
out of your ears right now.
Top tier transition. I'm feeling really. I'm like really buzzing right now. I'm
Are you
vibing.
doing a victory lap right now? Or are you just going around your house getting high fives from your wife and kids?
Yep.
I'm on my way to his car right now.
Yeah, he's coming.
I'm in the car. I've left the computer.
All right, we lost Jimmy, but we'll get him in about 20 minutes. All right.
So, Khalid, would you fight or flirt your way through this world? And I don't know. Yeah, would you fight or flirt your way through this world? I feel like the main characters kind of do a bit of both of it. They do some fighting, they do some flirting with the contracts. What would you do?
Denji's kind of my North Star in this world. Like, if there's anything I'm going to do, it's follow whatever that guy's doing. And he's flirting his way through it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's letting that fuel him. And it doesn't matter if it's a frivolous reason. It's his reason. And it works for him. And I respect and admire that. So why wouldn't I flirt my way through it? I guess how that looks, though, because I don't know, because like the leech devil took a liking to him and was going to spare him. So I do think that there is something to that. Like, some of these devils are pretty hot. So if I found like a particularly hot devil, yeah, of course I would flirt with them and just do their bidding, because that sounds like a fun adventure to go on. Yeah, I don't know. There's too many devils and like too many instances to be like, oh, I'd fight this one, I'd flirt that one. So I'll just boil it down to like, if you're one of the hotter devils, at me. Like, let's do something about it. The rest of you, leave me alone. I don't want to fight you guys, because I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't think I'm horny enough to fight these guys. Denji is supernaturally horny. Like, you think his superpower is turning into Chainsaw Man. No, it's being horny. That's his superpower.
Yeah.
It makes him like I want Kratos from God of War to like go up against Denji, because like I really don't know who has like the more like unlimited like fuel.
If Denji is driven to defeat a devil by his horniness, I think the only equivalent emotion I could have for that is the dread of having to call like a doctor's office or something to set up an appointment. And the way that I drag that out for weeks sometimes, trying to. I actually have one that I missed and I have to reschedule.
Oh no!
Is that a double? I think if you were to put me into the situation where it's like, all right, Jim, you gotta go see your orthodontist, or you gotta go kill that leech thing. It's just like, oh boy. Here we go. I'm like Popeye, like, let's go. Come on, you big loot.
So wait, what about you guys? Would you guys fight or flirt?
There's too much violence in the world. I'd choose love.
Yeah, you'd flirt with one of the devils.
All of them.
All of them. Devils.
Yeah, all.
You know what? They're all pretty charming, so I don't even blame you.
I'm just not picky, Khalid. What can I
say? Jokes on me for trying to save you.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. What about you? Are you picky?
No. But I do think. What am I
Oh,
saying?
I can't wait for Dickie to hear this.
Yeah, that was great. Oh, okay. Moving on.
Hope the joke was worth it, Joe.
No, I wanted to go on to say that I think the interesting thing, maybe it isn't quite flirting, but like I think the contracting devil thing is interesting because I think we learn that you can have more than one contract, right? Because Aki has two, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I'm almost kind of intrigued. Like, what if I don't know? Perhaps this falls in the flirt category. What if like your character motivation or your motivation in this world would have get as many contracts as you can? But I guess you have to like give
Well,
something
the
in return,
contracts
right?
are like they take a toll.
They take a
though.
toll, but I'd be
like-
like interested to see what that would look like with somebody who's like trying to just collect contracts. So I don't know if I'm saying I would do that, but I think I'm intrigued in that concept. I'm also intrigued what it would be like to be a regular person in this world. Like,
awful. What?
yeah, it sounds awful. I feel like you gotta choose fight or flirt. Otherwise you're just waiting to die somehow, you know?
Like the clogged toilet devil is gonna just like burst through your door one day. Like
Yeah.
that's what life is like for the average.
The leaky
person.
pipe devil is what I'm thinking of here. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Your variable interest rate devil like comes at you. What like that sucks.
My car broke down devil.
I don't want to do that. I
Yeah.
want to. If I have to live in that world, I want to be like in the mix.
Yeah, you gotta be part of it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I'd go with that. Flirt it.
All right. Well, I've selectively flirt. Like I'm on Devil Raya, and
It sounds like we're all flirting.
Yeah, I'm checking out VIP devils to see which ones I would flirt with.
Hot.
Finally, one of these fighter flirts is hot and not just perplexing.
I feel all right. We've gone pretty long on this one, so we should probably wrap it up with our final segment. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. And I know, Jim, this is the one thing that you said you wrote down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some heartbreaking cuts here. Try and I've indulged myself too much.
Okay. Anyway, our final segment for any new listeners or anyone here is our What the Fandom segment. I always say section, it's segment. And in this segment, we go around and share one thing or two things, or perhaps even three things, Khalid, that we're interested in, we're enjoying watching, listening to, reading, that you guys might dig. It could be anything. Could be something to do with monsters, could not. Could be something to do with Chainsaw Man, could not. So it's just something that we're digging right now. Jim, since you're the guest, we'll let you go last. That's what we usually do. But Khalid, what the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My what the fandom this week, I'm gonna keep it simple with just one album. It's 2021's R&B and soul album by Leon Bridges called Gold Digger Sound. I recommended it to you a few weeks ago. It's just like a really great, like lo-fi, low-key, just like melodic album. And I really recommend it if like you're like me and you've recently entered the remote workspace and you can only listen to so many podcasts and you just need something in the background. Like this is really good music that like when you do bother to tune in, you're having a good time, but it also kind of fades into the day so that you can keep working away without being like too entertained. So yeah, that's going to be my simple one-off what the fandom this time around. Joe, what the fandom with you?
Damn, Khalid, that was like the quickest what the fandom you've ever had.
Yeah, Joe, 2023. It's the year you don't get to be like, oh, Khalid, you have like 9 with the fandoms.
New year, new you.
New year, new me, biatch.
And we are getting some peeks behind the curtain of this podcast. I have
We
to
really
say
are.
that.
We really are.
The real contentious parts.
Yeah, that's how the sausage is made, as Khalid likes to say.
We're Minnesotans at heart, so this is as contentious as it gets.
All right, so my fandom this week, I have two shows that we've been kind of watching lately here in our household. One, we finally kind of started watching that kind of Dungeons and Dragons style animated show from the Critical Role folks, The Legend of Vox Machina. We're only a couple episodes in, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I mean, I like the kind of like fantasy world, and so that's been enjoyable. I will say the next thing that we've been really watching, that's kind of been like a feel good thing for me, at least. It's like one thing that I feel like I watch in spurts, but always come back to is Doctor Who. And I know Doctor Who needs no plugging, but I'm on season 10 of the new kind of reboot series, I guess you could say, or not reboot, but the continuation lately. And it's Peter Capaldi's final season. He has Pearl Mackie joins as the companion as Bill, and she is absolutely wonderful. Like I like most of the companions, but she's like quickly becoming one of my favorites so far, and she's great in this season. And Peter Capaldi really shines. I feel like this season he's really showing how capable and how good he can be in this role. And I know I'm several seasons behind. We get the Jodie Whittaker seasons next, and then there's going to be a new Doctor coming up. So we're still catching up, but I'm just really enjoying like kind of sitting in this little kind of time machine, if you will, of this era of Doctor Who and going through the season. And as we catch up, hopefully to the new stuff by the time it debuts later this year. So I've been really enjoying those two shows, just kind of some silly fantasy, silly sci-fi stuff that can at times, both of them get quite heavy here and there. So those are my fandoms. Anyway, Jimmy, what's the fandom with you?
Actually, funny tidbit, Joe. Do you know grammatically it's Doctor Whom?
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah. So I got a weird one here.
Boo.
Dick.
No, you weren't just gonna get to make that joke and keep moving.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm a guest. It's my birthday.
Is it?
No.
You,
No, it's
John
not
Carpenter, and MLK? Wow.
Yeah. We're three peas in a pod.
You guys should start a
Brigador.
band.
So this is obscure. I don't know how much people. This is a game that I discovered last year, and I really love it. And I want to do a few games, but I think I'm just going to do this game and a book, and I guess technically an album. Also seconding the Leon Bridges album. I think the album is a pretty good addition to his rather solid discography. Khalid.
Heck yeah.
Brigador Up Armored Edition. So what is Brigador Up Armored Edition? It is on the Genesis, which was the console I had as a kid, because in every way I got the second best things in my childhood. There was games called Desert Strike and Jungle Strike, and they were these kind of isometric games. So they sort of look like the old StarCraft, if you remember, like old. So they're pixels, but you like fly a tank or a helicopter, and you would go into Iraq or some Colombian-esque country, and you just blow up a bunch of buildings and stuff and enemy things from this kind of isometric perspective. And you just like, the fun of it was that you could pretty much level every single building in the level, and at the end you'd just be like flying over a completely like scorched earth. And so like I missed this game. I had never heard of it until last year, and that's weird because it is right up my jam. It's called Brigador Up Armored. Well, that's later Up Armored Edition. It's called Brigador, and apparently it didn't do very well, which doesn't surprise me since I did not hear of it until way after it came out. But it's kind of a return to that, but instead it's in a sci-fi dystopian world where the setup is that you've got this this planet that had a fascist dictatorship steal it from the corporations that were exploiting it, and they were all led by this guy named Great Leader. And so Great Leader has just died, and the regime is now very weak. And so the corporations that want to get back to exploiting this planet to its maximum are, in one night, they're hiring all these mercenaries to get sent down to the planet and basically destroy the infrastructure of Solo Nobre, I think is the name of the city, like the capital city of it, basically. So you have all these little missions where you can, sometimes they'll assign you, but later you can pick which mech, but you have different pilots and different like mechs you do, but it's all from like an isometric perspective, and it kind of looks like an old RTS, but you're only controlling one unit, and you just kind of get to walk through this like dystopian. It's so like really cyberpunk world, but like not like it's really quaint, and I don't know. It's just I really enjoyed it, especially because it has absolutely the third best video game soundtrack I've ever experienced. It's actually got 3 of them. You can find them on Spotify. They're by an artist named Makeup and Vanity Set, and they're Brigador Volumes 1 and 2, and then the Uplink EP. And if you like vaporwave kind of music or synth kind of stuff. And I've put those on, and I have spent like at least over 50 hours last year probably listening to those albums, like looping through them while drawing. I would say just drawing alone. Excellent albums and a really cool, fun game that maybe it isn't for you, but you can find it really cheap on Steam or GOG. And I think it's something worth supporting. Also, I'm reading a book called House of Leaves, and that's also something that is right up my alley, and I didn't hear about until last year at the tail end of it, and I got it from the library, and I'm really enjoying that. It's a horror story about a guy whose house starts adding rooms that he doesn't know how to do, and how it just actually it's impossible to describe. It's about it's a haunted house, and you should, if you like weird books, you should check it out. It's really well written. It's 700 pages and it's super long, but I don't even know if there's actual monster in it. Maybe it would make a good subject for this podcast. I don't really know yet. I just know that it's very unsettling and I'm enjoying it immensely. So yeah.
Awesome.
Let's get out of here, guys. Like, I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me back on. I promise I will never get this excited about anything ever again. Cause wow, I needed to get it out.
No, it was fun, man.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. It was a good first podcast of 2023, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
So
yeah,
thanks for joining us. Thanks for pushing Chainsaw Man. Is there any like anything you want to plug of your own before we go, or just wait and see?
No, I have nothing. Like, no, I don't. I'm just your friend for now.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe that'll change. Hopefully that'll change this year.
Friendly neighborhood Jimmy.
I got to work all that stuff out.
Yeah. I do want to say before we wrap it up, Khalid, I was actually right originally. I like double and triple checked it. And to your disappointment, Khalid, Martin Luther King was actually born on the 15th.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just happy that I guessed right that it had something to do with his birthday.
Why would they celebrate it today then?
It's Monday. It's on a Monday. Yeah, it's on Mondays.
It's like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it was on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I was wrong about that. So they're almost birthday buddies, Carpenter and King.
I mean, that's cool though. They could still like have parties together.
For sure. Sure. Anyway, that being said, Khalid, wrap us up.
Well, as Joe said, and I will echo, thank you so much, Jimmy, for coming on. This is a super fun topic for us. I was very hyped to discuss it, and you did not disappoint. It was great. Thank you to everyone that listens to us and continues to listen to us. Joe, we had a review. Did you want to read it?
Oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me. I almost forgot. We have a review. The name is NBDISLALON, which I'm not I'm not quite sure how to pronounce, so I apologize. But their review says, just like the cinema, which is very kind. I've never seen a movie. I think they might be meaning it if they've never seen the movie we're talking about. But it says, I've never seen a movie, but listening to these nerds and their commentary makes me feel like I'm sitting in gum at the movie theater with a pocket full of popcorn and jujubes. 12 out of 10. Bonus. Great use of the word neck flaps in episode 28, which is our Men in Black episode. So thank you so much for the 5-star review. We really appreciate it. If you like this podcast, please do the same. We will read it on air. If you want to not necessarily just say nice things and leave us a review, give us 5 stars and drop your favorite monster movie, and we'll say that on the air. Or maybe give us some suggestions of what we could talk about sometime this year. So we love those reviews. We love hearing from you guys. Please do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to another awesome episode of Frankenstein's podcast. Until next time, creep it easy.